Okay, picture this. It's the year 1933. You're miles away from home, you're sitting in this freezing cold room, and it is the very first morning at a strict, incredibly intimidating new school. You're miserable. Honestly, it's just a brutally difficult morning. But here's the kicker. This isn't just any new kid. This is James. James Bond. Well before the fast cars, the tailored suits, and the secret missions we all know him for, he was just a new boy trying to survive a really tough first day. Today, we're going to dive right into exactly what went down during those intense first few days. Right off the bat, to really get a feel for James's world, we need to talk about where he actually is. Eton College. Eton is this incredibly famous, deeply traditional, and very expensive school in England. For any beginner just trying to learn the ropes, it's a massive, overwhelming place. James is just trying to figure the basics out. Finding his freezing room, getting dragged out of bed for lessons he really doesn't want to go to. But as we're about to see, a cold room is literally the least of his worries. Because making friends in a place like this, yeah, it's not going to be easy.
And man, trouble finds him almost immediately. Literally, as soon as he steps outside, he crashes right into another boy. Books go flying everywhere. The other kid just snaps and yells, "Ow, you stupid boy." Now, James tries to take the high road. He's polite about it, saying, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you. I'm Bond, James Bond." But this other boy, a kid named George Hellebore, just shoots him an absolute death glare and mutters, "I don't like you, Bond." So just like that, barely hours into his first day, James has already made himself an enemy.
So let's look at the matchup here, because the contrast between these two boys is huge. On one side, you have James. He's friendly, he's polite, and when he messes up and bumps into someone, he owns it and apologizes. Then you have George. George is just plain mean. He's unkind, and as we're going to find out very shortly, he is a totally bad sport. It's almost like a giant neon sign pointing out exactly who the hero is and who the bully is, right from the jump. But wait, because George isn't even the only hellebore that James has to worry about. That very evening, James gets called in to meet George's father, Lord Hellebore. And this guy is big, powerful, and honestly, downright scary. He casually mentions that he actually used to work with James's father, Andrew Bond. But then he leans in super close and hits James with this really intense interrogation. He asks, "Your father was strong. Are you strong, James? Can you run? Can you swim? Can you fight?" And Lord Hellebore isn't just trying to intimidate a kid for fun. He wants to put all the boys to the test. Literally the next day, he organizes this massive competition for the whole school called the Hellebore Cup. It's broken down into 3 totally grueling parts. Morning is the shooting competition. Afternoon, they hit the water for swimming. And in the evening, they top it all off with a massive running race. He claims he wants to see who the strongest boy is, but let's be real. He mostly just wants to watch his own son, George, completely dominate everyone else. All right, kicking things off with the first event, the morning shooting competition. Lord Hellebore is standing there looking incredibly smug, telling everyone that only a truly strong man can win his cup. So how does his golden boy George actually do? Well, George and another boy named Andrew Carlton end up tying for first place. They absolutely crush the shooting event. So far, George is looking like the top dog, and his father is absolutely thrilled. But the whole dynamic shifts in the afternoon. Once they get into the swimming competition, the results are completely different. A boy named Lawrence Forster actually takes the win. Andrew Carlton grabs second, and George, he slips down to third place. You can already hear the murmurs in the locker room afterwards. The boys are whispering about how George is a super fast runner, which is good, because at this point, he absolutely has to win the final event if he wants to keep his terrifying father happy. Which sets the stage perfectly for the grand finale. We are out in the thick woods now for the running race. The starting pistol fires, and the boys just take off sprinting into the trees. And James Bond? He is absolutely flying. Everyone is watching like a hawk to see if George can somehow catch up to James in the pack. The pressure radiating off Lord Hellebore is just off the charts, and George knows losing is simply not an option. And this is where things go completely off the rails. George acts totally dishonestly. He flat out cheats. While they're deep in the woods, George starts falling behind the pack. So what does he do? He takes a secret shortcut and suddenly pops out right in front of James and the others. But he's not as sneaky as he thinks. The other guys see exactly what happened. They immediately point him out and start screaming, "He's a cheat! You're a cheat, George!" So how does it all shake out at the finish line? In an amazing twist, even with George trying to cheat the system, James runs incredibly fast and actually wins the race.
However, because Andrew Carlton was so consistent across all three events, shooting, swimming, and running, Andrew is the one who takes home the overall Hellebore Cup. And Lord Hellebore? Oh, he is furious. You can literally see the pure rage on his face because his son couldn't pull off the overall win.
All right, so let's pull back and look at the big takeaways from James's wild first few days. Basically, the entire Hellebore family is major, major trouble. First off, George Hellebore is totally dishonest and a sore loser. He will cross any line to win. Second, Lord Hellebore is a genuinely frightening, dangerous guy, especially when his ego takes a hit. And third, just something about this whole family screams massive red flag. James is going to have to watch his back around them for sure.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Look, James Bond won the battle out there in the woods, and he proved he could stand up to a cheating bully on day one. But with an incredibly angry, powerful Lord Hellebore and a completely dishonest George still roaming the halls of Eton College, what on earth are the Hellebores going to do next? Young James's time at this famous school is really just getting started, and you know it's not going to be quiet. I hope this explainer gave you a great look at just how intense James Bond's beginnings really were. Thanks so much for diving into this story with me today.